The following discussion is not necessarily the views of all involved. The goal is to start open and honest discussion in the Christian worldview. Like all things, weigh what you hear with what you know and join us in our pursuit for the truth. Enjoy the podcast.
Cole, cut this in now. Do-do-do-do-do.
As Joel would say, we really kick-flipped that segue.
Wow.
The pagans.
Well, I would say Satan and demons specifically.
All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to the Second Rate Saints podcast. I'm one of your hosts here, Caleb. Straight across from me, or to my left if he was paying attention to his cues.
My name is Joshua.
You said that like you read it from a card.
I did. To my left is...
My name is Colton, and to my left...
It's me, Caleb. We've gone full triangle.
We always bring up the spatial relevance of where we are.
I find it very funny.
Eventually, they're going to be able to determine the shape of this room.
Most rooms are, like room-shaped.
What is room-shaped, Caleb?
Yeah, roughly square.
That's fair. That's fair.
Never mind. That
anyway,
string of logic doesn't work.
If people want to find where we talk about shapes,
the room where we are,
where we are.
So it means we're missing because there's only 3 points on this shape.
Yep.
And we're missing 2 other points. That would be Joel and Colton. Nope. You're here.
Hi.
Cole/Stewart. You can find other episodes where we have the full 5-point
Calvinism,
5-point shape of Second Rate Saints.
5-point star.
Yes. And then from there, you can find those episodes either on our website or at Apple Podcast or on Spotify if you're listening to any of those places. If you go to our website, www.secondratesaints.com, you can find links to all that we do, our blog posts, our book reviews, as well as a link to our Buy Me a Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's good stuff.
Speaking of links, you read a book, which is kind of like a link to knowledge. Wow.
That was really good.
Segue. And I want to pause. That was good.
As Joel would say, we really kick-flipped that segue.
Yeah. Yes, I read. So I led a Bible study not that long ago through Galatians. And one of the things that I do is I try to have actually read through a couple commentaries on Galatians. This was kind of one of the only ones that I read straight through. There may have been sections, I'm not going to lie, that I may have skim read or skipped over. But did pretty well close to read the whole thing.
It's hard to read just a commentary from cover to cover.
If anybody's read a commentary cover to cover, they know it's rough.
Yeah.
This is not so bad. This is N.T. Wright's Galatians, which is in the series Commentaries for Christian Formation, which when I bought this last year, there was only like 4 books in this series. It's very, very new.
Okay.
Yeah, it was published in 2021. And
right.
And if you guys are the super fun nerdy type that like wait around for when an entire series of commentaries is published,
you'll know waiting like 50 years.
It takes decades. Yeah, so it's N.T. Wright, which means he grounds his theology, I would say, fairly decently in a biblical theological framework. If there's anything that N.T. Wright does well, it is not proof texting. Mm-hmm. It's interpreting scripture in its larger narrative framework. If there's anything that this book does fail at, it is what N.T. Wright is known for, his pseudo new perspectives on Paul.
Right.
And so that's not explicitly like in every single page. Not at all. There's tons of beautiful stuff in here.
Does he really interpret some things like wildly differently from what we would expect?
No, he'll say things like articulating salvation just as and articulating salvation and Christ's death to it and how our faith justifies us is more than just a penal aspect.
Okay.
And that's not wrong. This is why one of the N.T. Wright's kind of the gateway drug to new perspectives on Paul, but he's also not so far deep that you get the craziness of new perspectives on Paul.
Right.
The craziness full bore, which N.T. Wright does not go, would be you are you enter by faith and you stay by works. He would not believe that.
I see. Okay.
But he is kind of the gateway drug to that community.
Say that again.
You enter by faith and you stay by works.
In what?
The new perspectives on Paul.
Salvation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's an oversimplification, and there's a very wide range of new perspectives on Paul. N.T. Wright is a decent introductory to that thought. I wouldn't recommend this book to your average layman.
Okay.
Even though that is kind of what it's aimed at.
Why?
Because of that new perspectives on Paul aspect.
Right. It
Because
really is
every now and then he deviates from what I would say is Orthodox Protestant soteriology.
Okay.
And not in such a way that he doesn't bring it up. Like he does, he mentions it.
well, he's the guy who sort of denies original sin, right?
No,
Not that he denies it, but he recontextualizes it as something else.
I don't know.
No?
No, not to my knowledge.
Oh, I'm thinking of Craig still. My
Yeah.
bad. Oh, no, N.T. Wright's great.
That may come back.
Yes.
And also N.T. Wright's doing some weird stuff now that he's maybe older theologians shouldn't share their opinions online.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's
And
so fun.
So there's certain things that N.T. Wright I'm not a massive fan of. There are many. He has influenced my theology immensely.
For sure.
For many of his other books, I would highly, highly recommend. I would only recommend this to maybe a Bible college student.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone who might know those complexities.
Yeah, and like be able to evaluate what he's saying with a grain of salt. And it's not like every page is permeated with that. In fact, very few are. But where it is there, you know.
Okay. But not enough for it to be convincing you that, no. Paul was a heretic of some kind.
No. And
Okay,
he wouldn't
that's
go
good.
there. He wouldn't go there. And he doesn't deny the traditional Protestant soteriological lens. He just tries to say yes and.
Right.
But in doing so, I would say he
opens the door to actual
lessens,
bad.
Well, he opens the door, but he also lessens traditional Protestant soteriological system.
Okay.
Not Joel, man.
It's okay.
There's a lot of names you got wrong today.
No.
I like the cover.
Yeah?
Yep. It's a 3.
I like it. Middle of the road.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not a 4, and it's not
Really?
premium. It's not a 5.
I think this
but
is probably the strongest representation of a 4 I could probably get.
I think this is, as far as commentaries go, this is a great cover.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't really scream commentary though, so I kind of get what Josh is coming from.
Oh no, it's way better than any of the other commentaries I have. But
It doesn't give me Windows Vista like screensaver vibes.
Yeah,
like the old.
That's fair.
Like other commentaries sometimes do. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's how long they've been working on them.
This looks like a Jordan Peterson book, and I think that's what's confusing me with it. I can see a 12 Rules for Life with this cover.
Yeah.
Or,
it is just like kind of esoteric.
or a Strange New World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair
Carl
enough.
Sagan stuff.
I would give it
Yeah.
a 3.5, I think.
Wow.
3.25.
3 or 3.5.
Well, how many stars do we have to keep breaking them up into?
Just the nut pie.
Pi? Yeah. 3.14.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's how indecisive I am.
That's fair. I am too.
I'm sorry the book wasn't amazing.
No, it's okay.
I hope that your next book you read is great and brings you lots of joy.
Alongside that, for the Bible study, I was reading Martin Luther's commentary on it, which was also not that great. It was so historically related to his fight with Roman at the time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
There were great lines in it. Like as a work of historical theology, it was beautiful. Also, St. John Chrysostom's sermons on Galatians, banger. Absolute banger. Yeah, those were the sources for the Bible study.
Nice.
That sounds very interesting. Are we talking about Galatians today?
I don't know, Colton. What are we talking about?
I think we're talking a little bit about generally apologetics and online, everyone's favorite topic, online discourse.
Oh, it's so good. Every day.
Online discourse is definitely one of those definitely not, analogous terms that everyone hops on the bandwagon for sure.
It's a buzzword.
We're not doing it for bandwagon reasons. There has been a rise as people who do online discourse somewhat. There's been a rise of people who talk online in healthy and unhealthy ways.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to everyone's favorite website, Reddit.
Oh, I thought it was Tumblr.
Tumblr is basically dead.
Oh, just so much I know.
Yeah.
Reddit being the hive of scum and villainy that it is.
The bathroom wall of the internet.
Absolutely. It means that people go on there to argue with each other and not really to build each other up or, actually find the truth and stuff like that. And so we're going to talk about some of those kinds of ideas today.
Yeah. And just apologetics in general.
Yeah.
Right. Like what should apologetics role be in your...
Sorry, I must ask questions about this metaphor. If Reddit is the bathroom wall, does that mean 4chan is like the back alley with the light keeps going out, like stuff?
The sketchy alley?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
What's the outhouse?
Twitter.
MySpace.
MySpace has been dead for forever.
So without us.
That's a good point, actually.
There's no power there. You have no power here.
Servers have been shut down.
So Caleb, first, before we do anything, what is apologetics?
Apologetics is giving a defense for your faith. It comes from...
It's not apologizing to someone.
No, sorry.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Mr. Canadian.
Yes. It's giving a defense, an account, an apology for why you hold a certain position.
Right.
And so most of the time, the word apologetics or an apologist is somebody that is defending the Christian faith. And this actually goes like really early back in the Christian tradition. Yep. You have Justin Martyr, who's in the late first century, I want to say. I want to thought early second.
Yeah.
He might be born in the late first.
Yeah, I don't know.
But late first, early second, like...
Let's not verify this point at all. Just, this is fact.
No, the reason why I want to get it is because people will be like, no, the church was made up at Constantine because I'm brain dead. Anyway.
What?
The amount of people that think the church changed by Constantine is ridiculous. Just read, anyway, go read Justin Martyr.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. However,
we are firing all the guns on port side today, boys.
I'm just going to...
Oh my gosh.
As many stray bullets are going to be shot.
We're shooting talking about online discourse. We're shooting everybody today.
Three nobodies on the internet talk about how internet talk is bad.
Meta?
So when we talk about apologetics, how often do you think that comes up in everyday life for people?
I think that generally when you are faced and confronted with your theology, you always have a defense for your faith, whether for the personal argument with the voice in your head or for the person that you randomly meet. And so I think generally...
Do you argue with the voice in your head very often?
Well, when you're having fake arguments or when you're when you're thinking about, you listened to like some random video or podcast or whatever, and you're like, I don't think that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Apologetics. But that's that's like the loosest use
for
of that term. But yeah, like generally people have most of those arguments though. Most of those defenses are reactionary. They're not
for sure. There are positive and negative apologetics. Mm-hmm. Like negative apologetics being you're reacting against someone who has made an accusation against you, and positive being here's a reason why my belief is right before, anybody even comes to an accusation against you. And that's not very common.
No, but and like when I say reactionary, I mean specifically like it's not intentionally thought out. It's just your brain presenting the thing you believe rather than the argument for why you believe it.
Right.
So
then why do we want to talk about like apologetics? Sure, we can define it as much as we want. Many people have. You could literally search it up and find a better definition, I'm sure. But why are we talking about it today?
Yeah, Caleb.
Because we didn't want to talk about 2 Samuel 7. No.
For the 50th time.
That episode will be coming.
Yes.
I kind of want Joel to be there, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We're bringing it up today because I think there's been a bit of a resurgence in apologetics discourse in a couple of fields that it's worth discussing, because you have apologetics outwards against atheism. And there's kind of been a bit of as actually, according to the stats episode that Josh and I went through, there's been a bit of a a lull in what was perceived as the atheistic onslaught.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And apologetics on the online world is starting to bloom again. And we're seeing a lot of grassroots type movements, right? You can find, just on Instagram, you can find so many apologetic / Christian influencer, whatever, some of which have decent things to say, many of which don't.
Yep.
You also have interdenominational apologetics that is kind of rising up. Mm-hmm. I would say in our parents' day, so that you're talking like the boomer generation and whatnot, interdenominational apologetics was pretty bad. Everybody was just straw manning everybody.
The end times is coming tomorrow. Everybody else is terrible.
Yeah. And I don't know so much about the inter-high church apologetics, but I know the low church apologetics sucked, even across each other.
That is true.
Like from the Baptist to the Pentecostal, from the Pentecostal to the, it was rough.
Sometimes for good reasons, usually not for so great reasons.
And so you have a lot of discussion going across each those streams. And in that, you have a lot of people that are doing ecclesiastical apologetics, the defense of my specific denomination.
Right.
And so it's kind of a hot topic right now.
It's come back, but it's swinging in different ways.
It's a little meta that we're talking about the thing rather than all the topics. So.
Right. Well, talking about that topic, our podcast aims to be pretty interdenominational.
Yeah.
All three of us here specifically are different denominations, and we'll defend our denominations for. If you ask us, we'll be like, oh yeah, we're right.
Yeah. And you should think you're right. You shouldn't go to a church where you're like, these guys are wrong.
Yeah, that is true. At least not too wrong. But when I say things like, hey, do you like the Anglicans over there, Mr. Baptist, Pentecostal, just general evangelical Colton? And I'm like, yeah, Caleb's a great guy. He's a good Christian. You should listen to him. Would I ever tell someone not to listen to him on baptism? No, but I would say
he is wrong.
I disagree with you.
Yeah.
Josh, oh man, he's such a great guy. Fantastic. I really love everything he has to say. When we go into some topics, for sure I'll disagree, but great guy. Like, we can have this dialogue and still think that we're good people. The online discourse has sort of turned some people very pro what we try to do. Hey, these other people are pretty good too. And then that's why I kind of brought up Reddit, the very anti. Hey, look at Rome. Terrible people, all of them. They're all bad. Kind of resurging from the past, which for good and bad reasons. And then other people being like, no. Southern Baptist Convention is right. We shouldn't have the Nicene Creed.
Oh man, don't get me started.
And so when we talk about things like our interdenominational differences and the dialogue around it, it is starting to become more commonplace, I think, to see Christians intermingling and intertalking about their denominational differences, especially online.
Yeah.
But even in person.
Yeah. That's good.
It is good. However,
I think it's a similar thing happened when, and these things would be happening actually adjacent. They're not like one and the other. With the secularization of society, apologetics, generic defense of the Christian faith exploded, right? You had like Apologetics Canada and all that kind of stuff forever, right? And you had like, especially the fundamentalists threw tons and tons of money at it. Debating evolution. You have the Ken Ham stuff. You have like the
20 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have some of many good organizations came out of it. Many, I'd say less than desirable organizations came out of it.
Ken Ham. I know that's what you're going to say.
I didn't say that.
But hey, dinosaurs have never had a better day.
It's true. Dinosaurs are great.
Anyway.
Sorry.
And so I think when that exploded on, you had some people that discussing Genesis 1 to 12 or 1 to 11 became their entire biblical study.
Yeah.
right?
And the entire argument was either fully literal or completely metaphorical.
Yeah.
And that was it.
And I'm using that as an example, whether it's just that or you'd have some people that are like, all I study is the divinity of Christ so I can crush JWs. And it's like, well, okay, that's good. That's awesome. But that shouldn't dictate your study of scripture, your study of church theology.
Yeah. And if your theology is based practically entirely around being not something else, you're not going to have much to stand on when someone asks you what it is besides that.
Well, and it also creates a very, I would say, even a non-personal understanding of theology.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think one of the worries that applies to that apologetic is also the interdenominational apologetic. You know what your church teaches on these topics thoroughly, but it's created a very formalized way of approaching theology that's just not healthy.
Right.
If that's overdone. Now that's a bold thing to say. What do you guys think?
I think that's more common in, say, higher church circles. Because when I think of lower church circles, especially evangelicals, the issue isn't theology and knowing the theology. This is what culturally I understand Christianity to be.
Yeah.
And therefore that's what you build your theology and your worldview and what you base your faith off of. I don't say that everyone does that. I don't even think that's like the main thing that people do, but I think people are less interested or know less about what their specific denomination looks like rather than just the generic evangelical position, at least in low church.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Low church evangelical, which then they say that's what Christianity is. Yeah. So then they look at the Reformed person or the Anglican person or the Roman Catholic person. It's like, what the heck? That doesn't even make any sense. They don't even believe in this thing that is very obviously true.
The rapture.
I was thinking the exact same thing. Yeah.
The
young earth creationism.
Yeah. The purpose of studying the word is not to be right. It's to obey God.
Yep.
It's to do his work. And so if the study of the word is leading you to be divisive in the Titus sense, then that's not producing doxology. Your theology is not producing doxology. It should be, the study of the word should be causing you to work in your church more, volunteer, help, teach those around you, hold each other accountable, love your neighbor as yourself, love the Lord your God, not you're an idiot.
Yeah. And there's two things, because bringing all this up, the thing I focus on is right now, you have a lot of people either returning or coming to the faith because it's just growing, or people moving denominations.
Yeah.
And that's largely, I think, in part because of things that we brought up from the past. The thing I think is really relevant is 20 to 30 years ago, the whole 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and the young earth creationism, fundamentalism, evangelical. A lot of people there was this attitude.
The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, just for those who don't know the terminology.
Not the actual 4 horsemen.
Is the 4.
Stephen Hitchens.
The atheists, the new atheist movement.
Yeah. And Atheism Plus, and that came off of it and stuff like that. There was this 20-year, I would say 15 to 20-year period where atheism seems to have, quote unquote, won the argument against Christianity as a whole, quote unquote, in the public space, where the young earth creationists were wrong, therefore Christianity is wrong, and then atheism has won. We have finally progressed as a secular society.
Yeah.
And then 15, 20 years later, hey, everyone's having a meaning crisis. Hey, nobody actually cares about each other anymore. Hey, my denomination or whatever has turned into this cultural thing. Yeah.
People don't even love their children anymore.
Yeah. And because evangelicalism was the heavy target. But because evangelicalism was a heavy target, a lot of the people who were burnt out but still want to return to Christ are moving denominations. And so then you have people making the arguments for and against interdenominationally what it is that actually is at least this is how I feel.
Okay.
You go to a high church because you're burnt out from low church, because I don't think Stephen Hitchens was the reason why, Christopher Hitchens. Stephen Hitchens is his brother, right?
And you're using this metaphor,
Peter Hitchens,
not in reference to me or anyone specifically.
No, I'm looking at you.
Yes, I'm looking at me when you said that.
It's all you, Caleb. Sorry, I'm peeking the mic.
Yeah.
But it's all you. No. When people people are burnt out a little bit because evangelicalism is kind of not because Christopher Hitchens won, but because evangelicalism had a crisis of faith that never truly recovered from.
Well, and I think it also has an identity crisis.
Exactly.
Their own evangelical writers are writing about that right now, right? What is it? Yep. Something of the evangelical mind. That's a book study, blah, blah, blah. I forget.
And
they're having an identity crisis that started in the 90s that is just not being solved.
It's
what
true.
do you do with mega churches? What do you do with... Yeah.
And then I think really the big one is the rise of things like not loving your kids if we don't want to say abortion. And
you said the word.
Oh, I said it. And the rise of the LGBT stuff as well. Yeah. Even though it's happening in higher churches too. It is not very easily answerable from a low church perspective. What do you do about it? That kind of thing.
Well, and you do have a lot of people that even move from high to low.
For sure.
Right? Yeah. And so I think there's people that are just running to...
And the meaning crisis, I think, is one of the big reasons for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so then people argue, hey, you should come to my church. Mm-hmm. Don't go to that church. That church did X, or that church, whatever. And also, hey, all denominations are good, but my church does this. And people are finding that meaning in different churches. Personally, I think that's why we see the rise of interdenominational dialogue, is because so many people have come together from different denominations through mostly political, I don't want to say oppression, but political. Christians have not had as much power over the last 15 years that people like to give credit for. And so people kind of band more together as Christians than they do their specific denominations, like fundamentalists or evangelicals, or even like holiness or Puritans, or depending how far back we want to go.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think people are starting to have the conversation, finally, quote unquote, what it is that makes people Christians, and does that matter more than what you say it is?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Communication between the denominations and the traditions is happening more, and it needs to happen more, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The fact that we can have Orthodox and Catholic on the same podcasts and talk about how much they love church and happy is a good thing.
Yeah.
That's 1,000 years too late, but it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Better now than never.
Yeah. Well, and do you have a high church example?
Mm-hmm.
The Pope used the holy water blessed by the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which in a high church example is huge.
Yeah. That's saying it's a legitimate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely huge.
Yeah. So there's bridges that are coming across, but there's good voices and bad voices in that, right? If we're going to go with apologists, one of the things that you can see even in the Christian to atheist apologist, you can find Christian apologists that just bully atheists. That's their main thing, right?
Yeah.
And you can find that in interchurch apologists too.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
100%.
I think the best example
of
an interchurch apologist, in my opinion, and everybody's not going to be shocked by this, is Gavin Ortland.
Gortland. As I lovingly refer to him as.
Lovingly, really?
Lovingly, yeah.
Lovingly.
I do like Gavin Ortland, I do. Gortland's pretty cool.
Best Baptist, maybe behind Prince of Preachers.
Yeah, Spurgeon?
Yes.
I was going to say, he's going to put him above Spurgeon. I don't know about
Spurgeon's pretty great.
Yeah. Those are best Baptists. In my opinion.
That's fair.
But Spurgeon had a level of accountable conviction that he would no, you're wrong, but I love you.
He's also one of those original Baptists, which were very different from today's Baptists.
Yes.
Not in terms of necessarily what they believe, but more so in how they believe it.
Mm-hmm. I'd say there's quite a big difference in what they believe.
Right. Yeah. Fundamentalism really is the big.
But not just fundamentalism. There's the today's Baptists are far more congregationalists in general. I don't want to just turn this into a discussion of London Baptist Convention. Let's just move on.
I would have loved in an episode where we opened up about how denominations need to talk more highly about each other, and then you just go on a rant about Baptists for
No, I was going to say, I actually love the London Baptist Confession.
It's pretty good.
I think it's beautiful.
I think there's parts of it
in their system. They have a high view of the Eucharist. They have a high view of baptism. They have a high view of a respectable view of Calvinism. And it's not just I'm a Baptist because I want to have a church that I'm not accountable to anybody, which is kind of what a lot of Baptists turn into.
My freedom, absolutely. Yeah.
It's America's church. What?
No, not
okay.
The Bible.
Yeah.
The
and
Bible.
Hopefully where do you hope that this communication between the denominations leads to?
Not the internet.
Leads to the internet.
No. What's the outcome we would desire?
Right. I don't know. I hope that the churches
not what's reasonable.
Sure. Oh, not what's reasonable. If I could dream.
Yes.
Oh, if I can dream. Everyone becomes Anglican. No.
Everyone has 20 pounds of gold in their pocket. Okay. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
In their pocket, so they can't move.
I think here's an example. This would never happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Here's an example though. In order to emphasize, and I'm sure you'd have a concession given to me, or you'd have a concession that I would have to give to you. But here's a concession that I could ask of your denomination to mine, right? If I'm allowed to dream, your ordination, you don't believe in bishops.
Sure.
But you still ordain by other presbyters, that you would have a bishop at that ordination so that we can commune. Even if you guys are like, doesn't really matter, but it's important to us. And so that there's a concession that way that allows us to commune together at your church. I'm sure there'd be a concession my way.
You can't have a bishop.
Yeah, well, that would be one of the things, right?
Jokes.
If I'm allowed to dream, stuff like that, right? But that wouldn't happen. I think what could happen is far more unity outwardly towards the secular society. More banding together in our social programs, more banding together in our fight against secularism, stuff like that. Did you know one of the reasons why the state took over education was because denominational distinctives in educating children?
Yes, I did know that. Yeah.
Anyway, there's your little factoid.
It's true. When it comes to what I would think is like the height of interdenominational dialogue, or are we talking about like,
sure,
if denominations were to talk with each other and the height of it?
Ideal.
My ideal.
If you could apologize your way into a better relationship with the rest of the church.
I could apologize into the better relationship in the rest of the church. A lot of them won't like me. So
I'm trying to keep our main topic that we're kind of straight off on alive, and I'm okay with that.
That's fine.
But let's carry on.
Shoot. Because I don't want to say it's all standing around the fire singing Kumbaya, but definitely not. But
like something like that.
No, it's not. I think, to be honest, the best possible outcome is that we can just accept what our second and third order denominational differences or personal faith distinctives and just say that everybody else is Christian. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Don't some of us already do that though?
Some of us do that, but not everybody does that. Oh. And people play both sides depending on who they're talking to. Somewhat like some Roman Catholics will go, oh yeah, the Protestant is Christian, and then they'll go to their other, and then they'll go over to their other Catholics, and it's like, oh yeah, their system is so wrong, they're basically not even Christian.
So can I ask you a question?
And then evangelicals will do, oh, but Roman Catholics, they believe in Mary, which is a different God, therefore they're all unsaved. And it's like the same issue, but the other way. And it just would be willing to have the conversations between the denominations enough to just say that everybody else is Christian. That is all I care about. That's not all I care about. That is the baseline. If we can get to that point, I think that things are going to be a lot better. As long as everyone just accepts that everybody else is Christian.
Be gone, Anglican. Allows you to do that, but
sometimes
I'm just shilling right now.
Yeah, but I can do that without being Anglican too. So.
You can, yeah. Well, that's the beauty with Protestantism.
Yeah,
that's specifically.
Well,
yes.
that's my point. Is that we can do that, but not everybody does. Yeah. And I just want. It would be nice if everyone could just say, "Hey, you can't come to our church today. Go to a different church. Doesn't matter which one."
Yeah.
sure, I will disagree with some of them, but go to a church.
Well,
rather than someone say, okay, you can go to that church, but definitely do not go to that church.
But you would do that now. Like even I would do that for like, don't go to the Anglican Church of Canada.
Yeah, but we'd also both agree that they're not churches.
Yeah.
But that's different.
It's just like how you and I might agree that the Westboro Baptist Church isn't Baptist and isn't a church.
Isn't a church. Yes. I agree. Yeah, but that's different because when you and I can both agree that Eastern Orthodox people are Christian. Eastern Orthodox are way less likely to accept me as a Christian. Yep. More willing to accept you, but way less.
But they won't.
I know they won't, but way less accepting of me.
Yeah.
And partly due to we have no church structure that they agree with.
Yeah.
But if they could in good faith say, hey, that Baptist church over there are Christian.
Yeah.
I'd be like, man, we've already made progress. Yeah. That's already so much better. But not very many people are willing to do that. So I don't know if that answered your question at all.
The thing I was going to say, my deal was, I would love to get to the point where the traditions remove anathemas.
Yeah, that'd be beautiful.
That would just that.
Maybe not all of them. Some of them are for good reason.
No. But I'm not saying removing the idea of anathema.
Okay.
Because you still need to anathematize Mormons. But
true.
Yeah.
It's between the traditions. If we can remove the anathemas between us and just do general accountability. That is miles. That is we've moved to different continents as far as steps forward.
You noticed what I said though when you asked about ecumenical relationships because of this interdenominational apologetic movement. I brought up you and me because for Rome and the East to change on their ecumenical councils would cause them to cease to be Rome and the East. They'd have to so fundamentally change what they are.
True, but
you're going to say Rome just doctrinally develops themselves back into Reformation theology?
Yeah. No,
it just neos its way back.
You can.
Let's renounce 500 years of history. That's
Trent is wrong because it's either Trent is wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, they
act like Trent is wrong, but they don't say it's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could still be distinctively Roman. And what I mean is that Rome 1,000 years ago does not look like Rome today.
Yep.
So Rome 500
years from now. How dare you say that? It's been the same always.
Rome doesn't make that argument. The East does.
That's true.
Yeah. So 500 years from now, Rome's not going to look like Rome is today, whether they go towards Reformed theology or not.
Yeah.
And so whichever direction they move in, they're not going to look the same. Just because they remove the anathemas and change some of their core theology doesn't mean they will necessarily become Reformed.
No, that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
I guess what I mean is that they've backed themselves into a corner with Trent.
Yes.
And they've been suffering from it ever since.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to just kind of nullify Trent.
Yep.
At least the vast majority of it and the main points.
Mm-hmm.
But even without that, you have even the bigger problem of the schism.
Yeah.
And like, that's 1,000 years of development. That's even worse.
Yeah.
And that one was that was building for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's healing Christianity, if you even want to call it healing Christianity.
I would. Yeah. I have no problem with that.
Feels like both a lost cause, but also one that's the war is still being waged. Yet all of them are still fighting an actual enemy.
Yeah.
And that actual enemy are those who seek to destroy the church.
The pagans.
Well, I would say Satan and demons specifically, because even though lost souls are...
They're pagans too.
They're the slave warriors on the front lines. That anyway, I tried to go something apocalyptic and cool there. It didn't really turn out.
I interrupted you.
No, that's
Forgive
fine.
Me.
The atheism specifically has grown, risen, and half died in the span of like 30 years.
And as Josh and I were discussing in the stats episode, most of them aren't actually atheists.
Yeah, well,
They're just neo-pagans.
It's true. And the rest who didn't became atheism plus people who became the modern left, modern left movement. Yeah.
They became atheists that do yoga.
Yeah. And communism is essentially a religion at this point. So it's like, you got to believe in something. And I think people are sort of realizing that everyone is trying to sell you something on a belief. And what it is that if everyone is selling, what it is that you are willing to buy? And more and more people are coming to Christianity, but there's still that fight because everyone's trying to sell something.
It's almost as if we're all religious.
It's almost like everything is religious.
Okay, Caleb, what do you mean by religious? No, I'm ready. What do you mean by religious? We're going to have
the everything is religious debate right now?
No, I just want to know what you mean by religious.
Because everything is situated within a religious ought system, particularly with humans.
Religious or spiritual?
What do you mean by that?
Not everything that's religious is spiritual.
That doesn't differentiate for me.
Okay.
Should we have this conversation?
We'll have to have this conversation some other time.
Okay. No, we should actually. That's probably what we should have discussed.
Nope, we're doing it right now. Keep talking.
Oh,
okay.
You're gonna Mom's making me do this.
Okay, so by religious versus spiritual, are you making the? Are you making the argument that? Sorry, is the definitions you're working with similar to the one, like religion is the cultic trappings around spiritual matters?
At least in the way I use it, spiritual refers to that which is immaterial.
Okay.
Religious is not just that which is immaterial.
Would religiosity encompass spirituality fully?
No.
Why?
Religiosity?
Well, I would say just like religion and an idea, I should say. Should I say, when I say religion, does that also include spiritual? Or no? In your system, according to your definition.
It would be the other way around. That which is religious is inherently spiritual.
Interesting.
And you can be superstitious. That's not religious.
I would disagree.
Okay, but that's why I asked, what is your definition of religion?
I would say religion or religious, because I think religion gets bogged down into like specific categories, right? And then people go like, what is your religion? But religious includes not just the spiritual beliefs of that person.
Okay.
Although it does include that.
Sure.
But it would also include the societal, and I hate to use this term because this is where we're going, myths that propagate the meta narratives of that culture and that society. So like, here's an example. You can have a tribe in whatever place, right? Mm-hmm. They have a spiritual system. They have a shaman, all that kind of stuff. They have natural religion, fake and to demons and all that stuff. Cool. But not only that, they also have their beliefs and systems around what marriage is. Let's say polygamy or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. They have their beliefs and systems around their ethical systems of how they interact with other tribes and whatnot. As a Christian, we would look at that and go, no, all of that comes into the realm of what it means to be right with God. What does it mean to be right acting as a human? All of that is in the realm of the religious. Webster Dictionary me out of here?
I'm not. I'm just trying to find a definition of religion that matches what you're saying.
So you are?
No, because what I feel like you're describing isn't what people would call religion. It's just what you have called religion.
Okay.
And like, there's nothing wrong with it. If that's what you want to call religion, that's fine.
What is, okay.
I would call that spiritualism in general.
Okay.
They're not the same word though.
Yeah, I agree. They're not the same word. Right. I would say spiritual. Would you say that the way one handles, this is how we shouldn't have done this.
No, this is good. This is good.
No, we shouldn't have done this at this end of the podcast.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful.
We shouldn't. Would you call the way one marries their spouse or multiple spouses, would you call that arrangement? Not the rites that they go to, not the either true God or demons that they vow to in their marriage, but the very system, the structure of it. Would you call it
the
that
institution of religion or of marriage?
Of marriage, whether that is in a polygamous system in whatever Africa or whatever.
The idea of marriage.
Would you say that is spiritual, or would you say that is a religious idea?
Inherently spiritual and religious, depending on the context, because you have a non-religious marriage.
I would say that marriage is a reflection or a biological imprint. And bear with me, right? This is, and maybe in this argument, I'm being too much of a presuppositionalist.
Basic biological monogamy.
No,
and we've created a societal institution around it.
Bear with me.
Okay.
I may be being too much of a presuppositionalist in this argument.
Okay.
So that may be a fault of mine. I'm not normally one to like presuppositionalism.
I don't know what that is.
Where you presume the Christian religion to be right and then show the incoherency of others.
Yeah.
I would say marriage is the biologically rendered down, where a three-dimensional object or a higher idea has been rendered down and then put into place in the human relationship. Specifically, it is the rendered down version of what Christ has to the church. That is an image that echoes across human relationships. And not that the same image goes across between Christ and the other two members of the Trinity, but the same love that they have between Christ and the church. That is the love between the Son, between in the divine life. That's why Jesus will say, you and I are one just as I and the Father are one. Right? And I would say that that's baked into our biology. Now you can say, well, Caleb, you're presuming a Christian framework for marriage. And you could say, sure. But I would say, if that is right, then what the tribe in Papua New Guinea or whatever is doing is deeply religious. It is sacrilegious, actually, to a certain degree.
So,
because I don't know how much of this is a semantics argument and how much of this isn't.
Okay. That one is an easier way to understand what you're talking about. When it comes to things like, here's the thing. I've jumped back and forth on what I believe marriage has to do in the Christian system. Is it simply an image, an echo of what the divine life is and the reflection that we're supposed to show for what intimate love is, which is the triune relationship, which is the relationship between Christ and the church? Is human marriage an echo or simulacrum of that? Or is it something more or different? And I'm sure you'd say it's more, of course, and somewhat different, but in a lesser sort of form.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not fully there. Mostly because I think human marriage is different. Certainly different. The intimate knowledge part, sure, but I think it's, there's more than just that.
Okay. I wouldn't say that they're the same.
Right. Yeah. I don't believe that you think they're the same.
Yeah.
But rather that one echoes the other. As if the reason why human marriage exists is to show that love. That's why God would institute man and women.
I would say
marriage.
It's baked into our biology. It's not just baked into our biology. I would say the potential for that deep, intimate union permeates creation.
Okay.
But it does not come to the point of conscious commitment that self-giving love in that conscious commitment way. And that only exists in humans.
Right.
Although you see echoes of it even in other parts of creation.
Right. Mm-hmm. It's not just monogamy, but rather the conscious act to do it is important.
Yes. But yeah, moving from that. Sorry, carry on.
I was just going to clarify. Whereas in eagles being mates for life and willing to die for each other, right? All that stuff. That's biological mechanisms producing that.
Yeah, that's what I mean by monogamy.
Yeah. Whereas, well, no. What I mean is that the distinction he's making is that in all of the rest of creation, it's simply mechanism that we're observing that God has built that image into. Whereas because we have will and mind and awareness and consciousness, the thing is not simply a mechanism. It's now a desired will for something beyond just mechanism.
Sure.
So it's not just the image due to mechanism. It's more because there's personality and will behind it.
Yeah. Okay. And I think if we wanted to dig deeper into that distinction between you and I on marriage, I think that's where we dig.
Sure. But even without, what makes that religious? Not even in a cultic sense. Like, we're not talking about how people would
like
worship
rites or anything.
And I know you avoid the word mythic, but mythic I think is closer to what you're talking about, even though it's more than just myth, because it's biological too. Yeah.
Kind of a clarifying point. The definition you found, is it
I've been going over quite a few, but yeah.
Is it the system of beliefs and practices to apply those beliefs?
The two I was looking at specifically, because there's like the service and worship of God or the supernatural.
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about. There's a personal set or institutionalized system of religious attitudes, belief, and practices, which is what I intuitively understand religion to be. But I understand that might not be what you're talking about for sure. And then the other one, which I think is closer to what you believe, but I still think is off, is a cause, principle, or system of beliefs held to with ardor and faith.
Oh, actually, I might be using religion because I think God's revelation reveals. Hang on. No, I don't know if I'm doing this. This is a theory.
Okay.
There is no such thing. There is no such thing as neutral spirituality. And
as in, you can't stand still in a moving train. Like,
is it like if you worship you worship demons or you worship God? That's the way it is.
Okay.
And either way you're worshiping.
Yeah.
And so there isn't a base substrate that is separate from either choosing Christianity or choosing something else. There isn't a neutral ground in which is more fundamental than.
If we rework that to being you either worship God or you worship something else, I absolutely agree.
And so in that,
because demons gets a little more complicated.
Okay. I mean, I'm just going with.
So I think worship of the self is them worshiping demons, but yeah,
I would say it. Okay. I'm just building that out of Deuteronomy and then Paul.
Sure. Yeah.
You know,
I understand what you mean.
Yeah, because it's easier to build that biblical argument. The reason why I might be using the word religion is specifically to combat that which Christians have conceded, that secularism is in nature neutral, that spiritualism is a neutral thing. Christians have it, and non-Christian and other religions have it as well. No, there is one right religion. Everything else is a cheap knockoff.
Right.
So is atheism. Sure. It has metaphysical claims and beliefs that it presupposes on and then works that out. They may not have rights in the way that you mean religion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I understand, like, to call it a systemized set of beliefs, atheism doesn't fall into that. But however, if you say a cause, principle, or system of beliefs held to with ardor and faith, atheists definitely fall into that.
Yeah.
And so, like, sure, I can agree with that as a religious definition, but I don't think that's what you're saying.
I think it's way closer to what I'm saying.
I also agree it's closer to what you're saying, but you're treating it like every act. When you say all things are religious, not just spiritual, but religious.
Yeah. Because all things are worship to God or depriving worship in some way from God as well. Worship to him that is due.
Mm-hmm.
Even like if you wanted to go crazy on it, even eco-friendly stuff.
Well, I mean, you can
veganism.
Well, you could go crazy because, like, if we are the image of God, then every action we commit to with our will, whether for or against God, no matter how fundamental or base it is either worship or blasphemy.
And that's just the one angle. You put two angles in there. And if it's like, if I buy my iPhone and my iPhone is made by child labor in wherever, China or whatever, Taiwan or why can't I think of the actual place where it's
Thailand?
Yes, thank you. where the image of God is being used and abused in such a way, and I am a cog in that machine, there is to a certain degree a level of religiosity in the fact, I would say, that I have not, or whatever, whether or not that's can be let's say condemned on me for that, for buying an iPhone or whatever.
Right.
That's a different argument. Whether or not I bear that guilt or not, right?
Okay.
What the argument has to do with, the moving parts within the created order have religious value because they go back to God. They go back to worship. They go back to oughts, right? And Christianity has revealed what those oughts should be. And failure to interact with those actually incurs judgment. So the decisions that you make regarding those related topics and being a human and interacting with other humans, everything I do is related to how I treat the image of God. Everything is how do I image him? How am I a good steward to the environment? How do I? Yeah.
Well, and then to take this in another aspect of this, or another view of it from another angle. There was a guy I worked with when I worked at a restaurant in my town, that was very anti-theist,
right?
Hated God, but he was the biggest. He's like 30 something. He was the biggest comic book fan, and so he would go.
That sounds about right.
Like multiple times a week to this store to buy memorabilia, comic books, backpacks, bags, like everything.
Yeah.
He would go to Comic-Con. He would watch every Marvel or DC movie, like all of this. Right. And it's just like, when you break those things down, right. He's reading the stories of the people of these things that he admires. He's reading the stories about them. He's going to the building where everyone who's a fan of those things gathers to listen visually to those stories. He dresses in their garb to be like them. Like, that's religion.
He enters the Holy of Holies, which is
but he doesn't believe in God.
Chambers.
He doesn't believe in God. Claims to be an atheist, and yet he's actually living out a religious life in accordance with these things. The comic books are just his scriptures. The clothes are just his vestments, and the movie theater's just his temple. And the other people that go with him and his friends, that they talk about the stories and they commune with the stories. He's just following Deuteronomy when it says read the word day and night, when you go up, when you go down, when you meet the people in the courtyard. He's doing the religious life. Yeah. It's just not with something that would be considered a religion. And so in that way, everything is religious, because we all have patterns and rituals and rites according to our beliefs and the things.
Sure. Yeah. And I'd be totally willing to say, there's definitely some religious significance there. And if what you had said, Caleb, was things have more religious significance than we give it credit for, and things have more impact religiously than we give it credit for, I'd be like 100%. But when you say things like all things are religious, my mind immediately goes to things like, okay, this morning, if I decided to have toast instead of a bagel, how is that a religious thing? And if you scan into things like causal things, then it's the same. It's no different from the argument of everything is political. You just put the weight somewhere else.
Can I ask you a question?
Right.
If somebody were to come up to you and say, you should pray about everything that you come up in your life, you'd have no problem with them saying that, because you know that there's a certain level of absurdism in taking it to a certain degree.
Okay.
I would say do that here.
What do you mean?
If I tell you, you should pray about everything in your life.
Okay.
Right. Or the pastor tells you should pray about everything in your life. If somebody were to come up to you and go, I don't know if I can do that, because I can't pray about what color.
Once I'm finished praying, I have to pray about all that time in between when I was praying and not praying.
I don't know what color sofa I should buy. Right. And you'd be like, okay, you're missing the idea.
Yep.
You're being absurdist about the idea.
Yep.
I would say take the same road here. It's not.
So it's not everything is religious. It's things are religiously significant even when we don't think they are.
I would say that the vast majority, almost everything you can think of. And to a certain degree, whether you eat or whether you drink, do it to the glory of God. And so, in certain ways, to the measure by which of their importance, they are religious.
Yeah.
To what is it? How does the I believe it's the first I think it's 1 Corinthians. To those who are spiritual, everything is. I don't remember the passage.
While you're doing that, well, I would say the presentation of the food argument that you gave, I think is actually a good one, because whether what you choose to eat is based off your religious beliefs of what is good to eat and what is not.
Okay.
And so simply that you're making the choice of whether a bagel or a toast, and you coming to the conclusion that it doesn't matter, is telling, because that means that you don't have food laws.
Right, but that's not inherently a religious thing to do. It's just a result of things that were religious at some point.
Yeah, but it's the carrying out of the religious view in life. And so because of that, the action has religious weight.
Again, we get into the argument of, okay, is everything then political? Because the same arguments, literally word for word, are the same for everything is political. And I 100% disagree with that.
Politics is downstream from religion.
Yeah.
Okay, they would say religion is downstream from politics.
Well, they're wrong.
Okay.
Like, we know that, though, right? You don't think that, do you?
Religious, I think they are separate. They
but downstream. Does religion affect, like...
And politics affects religion.
Sure.
For sure.
But would you say politics determine the religion within the culture?
Like, just
determine the religion in a culture?
I'm going to continue looking for this, Josh. You know,
I would say in the way that people would say politics is downstream of culture.
Sure.
Culture, like politics is downstream of religion. What I mean by that is what you believe determines how you act politically.
Okay. I also believe it's downstream of biology.
Yep.
But I don't think that biology is downstream of religion.
No?
Not inherently. No.
How do you... Sorry, I'll keep looking for my scripture that I'm looking for.
Just because God is behind it doesn't mean that has a religious aspect to why things were created the way they were necessarily.
So I think this is interesting. So I think that
I have a simply practical point.
So to that point, then, because kind of like with the marriage description earlier, yes, if we're going solely off religion is what an individual person believes and then acts out of.
Okay.
However, if religion has religiosity or
metaphysics, spirituality, which is the word I was using earlier to say, then I agree. But
okay.
So religion, no.
Can you,
if religion is simply I would say no, because there is another person who is pre-biology that determines religion. That religion is
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so the other person that we are in communion with, God, was the one that gave religion to the Jews and to the Christians.
Yep.
And because of that, religion is pre-biology because it's a reflection of how he acts and believes. How he acts out of his nature. And so if religion is connected to the person who acts out of his nature pre-creation, then it's a reflection of ontology, not biology.
The passage that I was looking for is too deep into the context that I won't bring it up.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Sorry, say that last bit again.
Because religion is a carry out of God's nature, it is out of ontology, out of what is, not creation. And so creation is a physical manifestation of the metaphysical reality. And the acting out of religion, out of one's person, is our physical manifestation out of the metaphysical reality.
Is creation... So sure, we can get into like second order things, like it is a created order, therefore it's dependent. But is physical reality just as real as metaphysical reality?
What's the metric?
Real.
So
Existent. Just as existent.
I would say physics requires metaphysics. So
it's dependent. So it's not as real. If you removed metaphysics from
do you just mean contingent, like necessary? What is more necessary?
Well,
no, I don't.
Can I
Sure.
like present how I'm sorry. This, like the ontology of religion is true in the mind of God, regardless of if there's a physical manifestation in which it is played out. And so the playing out of it in space-time, I'm getting super whack here, is a carry through of God's will in humanity. And so now that there are persons, agents within reality that are acting that out in time and space, creation, it is prior to that because of God's will and nature.
But okay, not to get too into the philosophical rabbit hole, even though we're already there a little bit. To say that that which exists as a potential in the mind of God is in any way just as real as that which actually exists is obviously wrong, right? The fact that God did willfully act out creation in a literal physical manifestation of his will is a greater form of being than that which was not created.
Yes, if you were going to use
since God exists both outside of time and outside of change, that which exists in God's mind as a non-existent reality, which is true, it doesn't exist.
Well, it doesn't exist in the same sense because it necessarily exists because he exists and it can't not exist if it's his idea.
It exists at least in some form.
But since God cannot be potential, and those are only potential, they do not exist.
Does God not know counterfactuals?
God can know counterfactuals, but he doesn't know them in the same way that we explore thought. We explore thought linearly. I have a thought, then I have another thought, then I have another thought. God either has those thoughts or he does not have those thoughts. And those thoughts that exist either when creation existed from a temporal space, creation exists. It has a greater order of being than that which does not.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. If we don't give that credence to the counterfactuals, which we don't, because that would be ridiculous to say that they exist in the same way.
Which I don't think we are.
No. They do not exist in the same way that we would consider the rest to exist.
Sure. Yeah, you change they don't exist in the same way. You got in the same way. If you have that, then sure.
But God cannot think of counterfactuals in the same way that we do. It's not like...
No, I think he thinks of them in greater ways.
Not lesser.
Not lesser.
I've never said they were greater or lesser.
Okay.
That the counterfactuals can only exist either all at the same time or not at all.
What?
His consideration of the counterfactuals either permeate his entire being, as in he has always thought of them, or he has never thought of them. And since we know him to have always thought of them, they have an aspect of his own being is the counterfactual itself. The consideration of them. Right? Okay, maybe I'm making no sense here.
Well, no. So, yes, but counterfactuals also don't exist in the same way as factuals. And so they would exist... If you're going to continue this thought, they would exist even less than the things that are in his head that are factual that then become actual.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you'd have three categories. Then you would have,
if we want to continue with this. Yes.
Yeah. This also seems like a really dangerous way to build a theological idea.
Yeah.
Counterfactuals, unrealized factuals, and then from our perspective, realized factuals. However, in God's mind, there's no unrealized, and from our perspective,
the realized
are
they will map one to one.
Yeah, they're always realized. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
But my argument is that the unrealized don't hold the same form of existence as the rest.
Okay. I don't think we disagree.
It sounded like you did to begin with.
Where?
When I brought it up.
Okay.
But that's okay.
I don't think so.
We were just confused.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That which exists holds a certain level of being that sure is dependent on God, but so is metaphysical reality too.
Mm-hmm.
Metaphysical, both forms of creation, both the heavens and the earth, matter in terms of like what we consider to be existent reality.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're saying that metaphysical reality is only God, which I don't think any of us do.
No.
Both reality, physical reality, and metaphysical reality both have equal weight in terms of existence, right?
Maybe. Continue.
I also, can I make a caveat or a clarification?
Yeah.
When you say heavens, do you just mean
I don't mean space.
Yes. Not just heavenly realities like the throne room, like the angelic. But do you also mean, because I think this is where Josh and I would go, those things which are in the divine simplicity of God?
No.
Okay.
Because God is that separate thing outside of creation.
Cool. Carry on then. I just wanted to make that clarification.
Yeah. Anything that exists in God's mind does not exist in terms of a created order because they are God himself. That was part of the point of what I was trying to say before, but that's all right. Okay. Maybe that doesn't make any sense, but at the same time, when this came up of me saying things like things can exist for a biological purpose rather than say a religious purpose. And then you say, but it's ultimately religious because God is religious. Whereas I'm saying, okay, but a metaphysical reason like religion does not necessitate the physical reality to exactly match or not even match, but have a purpose in the metaphysical, but they do have to matter. They do have to point to God regardless, for sure. Creation exists because of God, to God, for God.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can you tease that out a little more? We might end up just cutting this in half and you have this as a bonus episode.
That might be a good idea.
Yeah.
2 small episodes.
Yeah.
Not Christ. God exists outside of reality, outside of both what we would consider to be a metaphysical space even and the physical space, because he is God. He permeates both.
Yeah.
I don't want to give the metaphysical like some kind of like defined space, but it's clear that wherever the angels are, if we want to say, is not the same place. It's not the same saying. They're just God. I also disagree with the idea that metaphysical is simply just concept and the physical is the actualized form of concept, because I think that takes away from God too. But the
can I ask a question?
Yeah.
But you would be okay with saying God is spirit?
Absolutely.
What's the difference? Just so that I understand your terms, not saying that I hold these. What would you say? Well, how would you differentiate spirit and concept in that framework?
Spirit is metaphysical, as in it does not occupy any physical reality.
Okay.
Physical as being like literal physical, like wood or paper or sand. Metaphysical, that which is not physical, is what spirit is.
Okay.
Spirit and metaphysical are not the same word, and they shouldn't be used as the same word, because
even though would you say that the New Testament author is using it as that?
As the same word?
Yeah. When he says,
I think
God is metaphysical.
Yeah, I think it means metaphysical. Yeah.
Okay. And then how would you differentiate that
from
concept? Just like
how our souls are metaphysical too.
How would you differentiate that from concept?
Because our souls are not simply just concepts.
Okay.
They are real. They exist in a metaphysical sort of way.
But they wouldn't exist in the same way that God does.
Because God is not dependent on being a created being.
Okay.
Yes. So
Okay.
God is more than simply spirit.
Okay.
In what we would consider to be metaphysical.
Okay.
God is more than just metaphysical.
Okay.
He is real and existent, just not, tangible.
The best way we can put it is other.
Yeah, he is other.
Yeah.
He's more than simply spirit. He's more than simply
other.
holy other. There you go.
Yes.
Sorry, the concepts I'm breaking down here.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're exploring the edges of our understanding.
When I say things like not everything goes back to religion, is the reason we have eyes so that we can look up to God? Or do they exist for some practical reason that hopefully that may or may not lead to God?
You don't think that God leading the evolutionary process for our benefit is by divine providence?
Of course it is.
Okay.
But how does that make it necessarily?
Is that not enough religious?
Why would that be?
Well, I think God is leading the created order into relationship with Him, into specific ends. I think the things that are accumulated along that way, both the good and the bad, will be dealt with, and to a certain degree have been dealt with in the cross of Christ.
Sure.
They are a means to an end of a relationship with Him.
Would you then say that every cause and every minutia is also part of that point? All of it?
To a greater or lesser degree, yeah.
No, to every degree. Like every minutia, every little aspect, every atom that flies a certain direction is part of that point.
Yes.
Okay.
That might be the point of God's speech to Job.
Yeah. You are talking to somebody who is okay with being a divine determinist.
Right. As someone who is not a divine determinist,
but not a Calvinist.
Fine. Yeah, which is funny.
Right. While I believe that ultimately everything ends in the same direction towards God, God bringing all things to a close, all things to an end, and that all lives are determined by God as either saved, unsaved, His actions on the world, he holds the whole world in His hand, for example.
Sounds like Calvinism. Anyways, continue.
Just sounds like the Bible, if you ask me. No, but does that mean that every minutia is as significant as a religious act? Or is a religious act what we consider something to be more important than that?
I don't think religion is not something that is different and greater. It's of a higher category that these other things are lower and a part of. And so,
right.
And so in the way that like, physics informs chemistry, chemistry informs biology, biology informs social science, whatever. Religion is the top thing, and politics and culture and these other things.
Okay, let me reorient a little bit on what I'm saying. Religion is not the same as saying God in what I'm talking about.
Correct.
Because if we say God is the highest thing and the highest point,
we're
then
not
sure.
Yeah, we're not saying that.
And then you'd say religion then is the second order from that. That's
relation
how they interact.
to God.
Yeah,
relation to God.
Yeah.
What relation to God? Everything's relation to God? I think religion is inherently human.
Really?
Inherently.
Okay.
God then... There are countless amounts of stars that we will see. This is just an example off the top of my head, so this is probably a bad one.
Yeah.
There are countless amounts of stars that we will never, ever be able to witness, experience, or understand ever. And they exist from what we can imagine, simply the glory of God.
Yep.
I would not consider that to be religious.
You don't think the glory of God is religious?
I believe that humans giving glory is religious.
You don't think even then, like the angelic host...
Okay.
They witness creation.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't, and then even then, God is a social being. And so the idea of, I don't know if you can get away from the idea of if you want to say that religion is an observed reality, I don't know if you can get away with that
I didn't say observed.
Okay.
I'd say it's human.
Are angels religious?
I mean, based on my definition, no, they'd be something greater and different.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. Greater is in higher, not like better.
Yeah. I guess I would say religion is the relationship of what does God have to do with something? And so in many other religions,
right. But that's not how I define it.
Yeah. In many other religions, you have a God of this, or you have a God of that, or you have a God of this, right? And even in other religions that have, let's say, more centralized systems, they don't claim to be the God of all, right? Whereas in Christianity, you have the highest articulation of the divine actually possible, categorically possible. And thus God's relationship to those things is any and all. Josh.
So as you just said, that's not how you define religion. That's totally fine.
Sure. I don't know very many people would define it that way.
That's okay. That's okay. We could come up with another term. We can call it whatever we want.
Yeah.
Would another term, does this concept though, call it whatever you want, of how everything relates to God, could we use another term and that concept be true? The concept defined
all
as
roads lead to God?
How all things relate to God.
If we want to say all roads lead to God, absolutely.
Just everything leads to God?
Of course.
Okay.
Well, let's put a...
That's why you can look at things like there are stars that we'll never observe and say they were still beautiful, even if we could never exist because they were for God's glory.
Yeah.
Yes, but they were not just that God put them there and it makes him happy, but like that it's part of the created order. The created order reflects God. Also humans and creation interacts with that order, and the order operates properly, and humans see that and wonder about God and observe God and all those things. So it's not just that it exists and that brings glory to God. There's a way in which it relates to the other stars, the fundamentals of reality, its placement, what it means in human religion, what it means to Christians, what it means to the animals, what it means to moths and how they orient themselves in space.
And assuming we don't know what it means to the angelic.
Yeah,
sure. The way I see it is that the Bible doesn't give a very clear reason as to the nature of why does reality exist, hands down. What purpose does everything have? Because if we want to say this is the best way for humans to come to God, then we have but then why is there extra? If we have that, then why do we have passages where creation itself yearns for God as if it itself has a mind of its own and some relational aspect that's outside of what we would consider to be the important aspect of what it is? That's all dead. We're the living part, which I don't think we believe.
I don't think we are anywhere close to God's plans for creation yet. Like heaven and earth will merge. Reality will be remade. Like,
that's my point.
Right. And so like, I don't know if we can say, what is the purpose of this all the time? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think the Bible tries to answer that.
Yeah. Okay.
The answer it gives is that all things give glory to God. Ultimately it does. In the minutia, it does. Everything does give glory to God. It all points to God. If we want to say something like it makes God happy, which is not what we're saying, but let's just say something that we all disagree. That's not something we would say, but sure, it does make God happy.
What's the word for relation?
I don't know. Relation? Koinonia fellowship, but
yeah, no.
Does God's nature desire him to create? And so like that, some people say that, and I disagree with that because that makes him dependent on something else.
I would say it's out of the superabundance of the intertriune relationship. It's not, he doesn't need it.
Right.
But it is
something he desires to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
For superabundance.
The word's too big.
Yeah.
there is some purpose to reality that's simply beyond what we could ever understand.
Sure.
So the word, sorry, continue.
So then when we say things like, does all things point back to God? Sure. But does everything lead back to some relational aspect between God and it? The answer is sort of yes, but also potentially it could just be so that it exists.
If it exists, is it not for God's good pleasure?
Yeah, that would be the glory part for sure.
So,
but he's not doing it so he can get something out of it. That's the point is, that's potentially a potential aspect could be just so that it could exist. Reality exists so that it could exist. And God desired it to be that way.
And you don't think that's religious?
Well, naturally, no.
Well, let's
definitely not religious.
Let's invent a new word.
Okay, so the word for relationship, one of the words for relationship in Greek is skesi. So we could come up with theoskesi. So that's our new term for how everything relates to God.
Everything is theoskesi.
Everything is theoskesi. We're starting this.
Everything is relational to God.
Yes. And everything has relationship to God.
See if it's better in Latin.
Okay.
It may not be.
But Greek is so cool. It feels more biblical.
It feels, yeah.
I like the word feels because I know it make you upset.
It's just theoskesi it sounds a little weird. If it's better in Latin, I'll prefer the Latin.
I think is better.
Yeah, but now you're changing it.
Yeah, but I just add an S on the end, like Theotokos. I'm just kidding.
It's true.
Also, I'm probably getting a grammar part wrong.
If skesi is feminine, then theoskesis does work. But
it would be a Deus Releo.
Oh,
yeah,
I like that less.
Yeah,
theoskesi.
Theoskesis, I think, works.
Theoskesis.
You can do that with if it's feminine.
Sure,
if it's masculine.
Theoskesis. Okay, we figured it out, boys.
Everything is theoskesis.
By nature of being made by him, it must be.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
We're
probably saying a slur.
Oh yeah. Somebody's
That's
mad.
funny. Okay. If I had to say an answer on this, the reason why I don't like the word religious is because I don't want to say it imparts the other understandings of it, because I don't think that's what you're trying to do. It's not like you're trying to smuggle in, actually the cult matters more because everything's religious. It's like, no, that's not your point. If you said everything is spiritual, I'd 100% agree with you. If you said everything is theoskesis, I think I do agree with that.
Okay.
Just again, if we say everything has a relationship to God, then yes. Not whether or not God has a relationship with everything currently, like actively.
Oh, he does in judgment or in love.
Sure. Okay.
And he will wipe out everything.
Yep.
I think it's fair to say that some things are neutral. Things are neutral.
I don't think so. I think creation is good. I think matter is good.
Right.
I think existence is good.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, that's fair. I think I understood. I meant something different when I said neutral, but then you said good. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it exists and it doesn't have a mind.
When you do it, I was thinking like in the judgment salvation kind of sense. I'm like, some things aren't going to be saved or judged. So like, what are we talking about?
But creation itself will preserve in some way, transformed by Christ's victory as him as the new Adam.
Yep.
Yeah.
You could say the first Adam. And also the second Adam.
Reality will operate properly now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, please. No.
Creation guys, waits with eager longing.
We arrived at a conclusion with the new word, theoskesis.
Wait. If I said that not everything is religious, would you still disagree with me?
If we're using the new term. If we reduce religion.
I think I still don't really understand what you mean by religious either. Because I don't think you mean what he means is relational.
I think I do.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just relational?
Because I think religion and religious is...
Right.
I would use those terms that would encompass spirituality.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're also using this new term, theoskesis. But I would say that what God does often in the Bible is he takes a pagan idea, takes that presentation of it in their culture and then raises it up to a greater standard. And so I would say God does take the term religion or religious and then raise it up to the presentation we're giving, not simply a set of beliefs and rights. But because we've decided that the concept matters more than the sound we make, Theoskassis is now the term.
Yeah, I guess
it also would be different if everyone meant that too.
Yes.
I think the fact that not very many people except for you mean that when they say religious, that changes it. I do not think that people mean relationship when they say religion.
I don't know. I've come across more and more like you get.
I'm not even appealing
like Carl Truman would go there. You get like what's his name? What?
I'm not even appealing to popularity. It's not just because most people do or don't. It's words are defined by that which the majority of humans mean it to be.
Okay.
Otherwise, then you could just swap out words.
Cool.
And so when we say religious, do you mean what people mean or do you mean what you want it to mean?
I mean, it's not just me that wants it. It's Carl Truman. It's Charles Taylor. It's Carl Truman, Charles Taylor. Like these are, yeah.
Right.
I even think Jordan Peterson wouldn't disagree with what I'm saying necessarily, but we've gone too far.
Yeah.
I will stop saying the words. I'll say Theoskassis.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that the word religion is now developing in a different way in Christian spheres then? At least
no, I think it's just secularists took it over.
Fair. The language does change over time. And so definitions do change over time. So I think we will, this word will continue to evolve. And I'm going to try my darndest to make Theoskassis a normal term that gets quoted by theologians.
Dude, that's all I ever want. Something I said to be quoted in a published
Especially in the negative way. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. That being said, though, we are at about...
Can I have a quick...
We got to be close.
Do you guys believe that all things are political?
No.
No.
Because you replace it with the other thing, though, right?
What do you mean?
Like, not because politics is beholden to religion, therefore,
well,
or is there other reasons?
Politics has usurped a certain level that it is not. That is not meant to be.
I mean, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. And when it usurps that level, it claims that.
You know what? I'll go to bat for you. I would rather use the word religion than politics for the same reasons that you are saying right now. Absolutely, I'd rather give the higher order word to religion than politics.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the weight to religion than politics. Okay. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I would say politics is the two-dimensional version of the three-dimensional idea that is religion.
We've used that idea twice now.
Yes.
Yeah, and I didn't understand it the first time.
What I mean is that religion is how everything relates to God.
Okay.
And I would say
how everything relates to man.
Politics is how everything we do relates to each other.
Interesting, because I would say that's society, not politics.
I would say society is the current snapshot of what politics is over time.
You think so?
I think so. Because society changes with every moment of the day.
Would you then say that it is true that everything is political?
Again,
every action you take is a political act.
But it's rendered down from what the greater thing is.
Right, and you'd rather call it something else, but you would say yes.
Well, no. What I mean is that like yes, it is touching, but I wouldn't say atoms are affected by this. I would say
but splitting the atom is political.
Splitting the atom is political. So it doesn't have as great a reach as religion does, nor does it have as much depth.
I absolutely agree.
But it's a smaller version of it. In the same way that the temple on earth is a lower rendering of the temple in heaven.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I don't know.
And society is the current establishment of humanity's politics.
Okay. I would say politics is how we discuss that which is society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I put society in a larger bracket.
But maybe that's just because I'm just thinking sociology and therefore politics is a part of sociology. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I think of politics versus there's a few reasons, most of which are too esoteric for me to just talk about right now. I'm sure
it would be on point, but
it would break my brain even more than it's already broken. There is such a thing as apolitical action, something that has no inherent connection to politics.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do not believe that politically that you cannot stand still in a moving train.
Yeah. Well, and that's
part of the argument, or one of the arguments as to why everything is political, is because you either choose to be for something or against something. And if you choose not to choose, you can't stand still in a moving chain. It's going to move one of the ways or another. To say to not assent is to dissent.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the reasons why politics is put in place of saying it's downview from everything. Let's say, many racial issues that go on in our larger society, or violence regarding social issues right now that I won't mention because it's really, really close.
Because we can't,
yeah. They'll say that's political, but it's not. It's theoskesis.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yes, the first use of the word.
There you go.
Let's
go. Politics has pretended to become its own religious idea. And thus,
I see.
And thus, if it is a religious idea, then how that relates to everything would be theoskesis.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
rather than homoskesis.
Homoskesis. Yes.
Yeah. So that's what I mean by it's less deep and less reach.
Sure.
That there are ways in which one operates. Like the fact that my body is operating the way it does is not political, but it is religious because of its relationship with God and ontology.
No, but you're white.
Do you think there's
how I operate
non-physical realities, say it's simply logical or emotional or anything that to do with the consciousness and mind, that is everything that your consciousness does is inherently political?
No.
Second order to the greater thing, which is religious, sure, but
yeah. So
is there a non-political thought or action you can take?
Yeah, like I need to keep breathing because I'm gonna.
But that's not a conscious thing.
No, but no. But like if I'm
not only that, you have political movements that would say because the color of his skin, he shouldn't. And
that's true.
What that is the political usurping the religious.
And part of so I would say this is just then getting to philosophy. Like that's just philosophy. When people say politics, it's the relational philosophy. That's, I think, what people generally mean.
Mm-hmm.
If say I should breathe as a statement because breathing is good, inherently puts you into not a camp politically, but political ideas inherently.
Yeah.
Which is the argument, is that leads to specific political arguments, therefore it is political.
So what I would say that politics is engaging maybe that. So what I mean is that, yes, one camp will say life is like, you should breathe because life is valuable. And the other camp will say, well, you shouldn't. It doesn't matter if you breathe because we don't care. And another camp might say you shouldn't breathe because white people are bad for society.
Right.
But within that, there's a more fundamental idea that either life is valuable or it's not.
But that's my point.
Yeah. But that idea, that's religious. How it's played out in the party is politics.
Right. I mean, I generally agree. I also do believe you can have an apolitical action.
Yeah.
I also believe you can have an a-religious action, but we might disagree on what that
Interesting.
means.
What would that even look like?
A religious, sure, but not a theoskesis. And that's the end of the podcast, everybody.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have two outros. Okay. Thank you for listening to this episode where we kind of went off the rails. This was really fun. I did enjoy going down this rabbit hole. If you want to listen to more of our episodes, check out our website at www.secondраtesaints.com. There you can find links to where you can have access to all of our episodes. You'll find our book reviews, our blog. Thank you.
Yeah.
You also find a link to support us at www.buymeacoffee.com/second-rate-saints. Check that out. And thank you for joining this bonus episode. Bye. we're fish people.